from my cold, dead hands. It's whiskey time! Dangerous. Hello friends, whiskey time, let's get right to it. Today, just because of the topic I'm going to be covering later, we're going to do a Canadian whiskey. A twist on an old classic. This is a Crown Royal, not your straight up Crown Royal. This is the Northern Harvest Rye, a blended Canadian rye whiskey. Not a lot of fans of Canadian whiskey, rye whiskey, amongst all the people that I hang out with online and whatnot in the whiskey forums, but you know what? I enjoy this one, so I'm going to drink it. Northern Harvest. Let's get right to it. So Crown Royal is a distillery out in Manitoba, west of me. This is a 45% alcohol by volume whiskey, rye whiskey it is, so that would be 90 proof for all of you Americans out there. Let's get that where you can see it and get right into it. I can't even, the nose on this, the smell of it, all it is to me is candy. And I can't even make a funny comment or quote or anything about the nose on this. It is just pure sweetness. Let's have a quick taste. Even at 45% ABV, you don't need to add any water to this. This is about the easiest drinking, sweetest whiskey you could possibly get. The only thing even comparable, I think, for me would be Stranahan's Diamond Peak, which is a single malt out of Colorado. Try that one as well, too. About twice the cost of this one. Maybe 3 times. Flavor-wise, this would be, if you can imagine yourself sucking on a cherry Jolly Rancher, walking through the county fair exhibition with your girlfriend, and then a bully comes up and grabs you by the back of the head and shoves your head into one of those cotton candy making spinning wheel things, and then pours a regular bottle of Crown Royal over the top of your head. The flavor that would come in through your beard and into your mouth while you're eating the Jolly Rancher with your face shoved in the cotton candy machine, regular Crown Royal poured over your head, that is truly what this tastes like. It is pure candy, very drinkable. I have gone through, over the years, probably, well, too many for me to mention so that my wife would know how many I've actually drank of these. It's just candy. It's like drinking candy. If you're a whiskey drinker, a consummate whiskey professional like myself, this is like drinking candy. Not much for character, not much for legs, but it's, you know, it's just very drinkable. There's nothing offensive about this. The smell, the taste. You could throw a couple ice cubes in this. Like I don't usually put ice cubes in whiskey, but you could probably put some ice cubes in this, fill her up halfway, throw a little tonic water or Perrier, and it, you know, you could pass it off for cream soda. I don't know. Try it out. It's pretty cheap. You can get it readily available all across Canada, and I don't know about the States, but, you know, you guys are on your own now. That ship has sailed. Cheers. Hello, friends. Welcome to episode 9 of YATR. Markus Harvey here, once again, 69 steps in front of the great, mighty St. John River, the Willistook, here for another episode of YATR. And before I get too much further, I would ask you to, if you haven't already, please click like, subscribe, leave me some comments on the topic we're going to cover today, or if you want me to cover something else in the future. I know these episodes have been few and far between lately because of the whole pandalirium we're going through. But I thought I'd step out here today because there's a topic that's come across the radar here in the last week or so that's caused a lot of uproar amongst all of Canada. And it's a pretty polarizing topic, so I thought I'd cover it really quickly. First off, we need to acknowledge what happened down in Nova Scotia here about 3 weeks ago. Tragic shooting event down there. Don't want to get into it too far. Everybody knows the story now. We will constantly keep our thoughts for the folks down there that were affected. Terrible event. But what that prompted from our government right now, Justin Trudeau, was a kind of a knee-jerk reaction to ban 1,500 types of firearms, guns. Okay, so for those of you that know me, you know that I'm not a real fan of guns myself. But that being said, I do understand people's rights in this country, and personally myself, I couldn't even count how many guns I own, just because I live in a rural area that's been, my family's been here 100 years. My grandfather was in the First World War, father was in the Second World War, so I've got guns handed down from all directions. The gun that you saw off the top of the clip there is a double-barrel musket from my great-grandfather on my grand's side. And the grants originally came out of New York State via Scotland back in the day. So, that gun's probably come out of America. So I have guns. I understand guns. I have shot a gun, unlike Justin Trudeau. So after what happened in Nova Scotia, much like what happened at École Polytechnique in Montreal back in '89, the government, in a knee-jerk reaction and in an effort, I think, to falsely quell people's fears, show some form of control, and ultimately pander to get some votes, decided to just straight across the board ban 1,500 types of guns. And amongst those include like cigars, M16s, the classic AR-15, guns that have the ability to shoot a decent amount of bullets in a short amount of time, and can be modified to, cause even more carnage. So you know what? I'm of the mindset that, nobody needs an AR-15, but if you have acquired one, let's just pick the AR-15 because that's the one that everybody knows and everybody goes on about. Already in this country, you can't have a magazine for your AR-15 that holds more than 5 bullets. That's already been established. So that kind of took away some of the capacity. And what happened down in Nova Scotia did not involve an AR-15 as far as I know. It involved a couple of actually handguns and a couple of long guns. So, like I said, I'm not a fan of anybody owning an AR-15. I don't think you need to own one. But if you have got one legally, or any of these other 1,500 guns that have banned, that Trudeau has banned, Trudeau, who's a drama teacher, politician, and has never fired a gun in his life. Anyway, if it gets you the votes, I guess. Where was I going with this? Guns. So they banned 1,500 guns. Styles of guns. You've got 2 years to keep them safely stored if you're a responsible gun owner, and then there's going to be a buyback program. So what does this do? I have a lot of friends with guns, and they are losing their minds about this. So for me, I don't understand, other than the reasons I just mentioned, government-wise, politically, why you would do this to responsible gun owners. I don't feel it's going to help with any crime reduction or anything like that, because if you're a responsible gun owner, you're a responsible gun owner. And the buyback program is just a nightmare waiting to happen. I don't know if y'all notice this or not, but currently we're going through a worldwide pandemic where, tens of thousands of people are dying. The economy is in the shitter. Unemployment rates like at 14% or something like that. Trudeau's handing out money left and right to people, trying to save the economy and keep Canada afloat, which, you know what, fine, for the short term we need to do that. But then he comes up with this just ridiculous gun ban, and then saying they're going to do a buyback in a couple of years. So let me tell you something. For those of you not in Canada, or for those of you that may not be aware of what happened back in, I believe it was 95, the country, Canada, under a Liberal government, decided to institute a long gun registry. So what they wanted you to do is if you had guns, rifles, you had to register them. And there was a fee at the time. I still got my license from it. Honest to God, I couldn't tell you how much it cost at the time. But ultimately, the Conservatives got rid of this long gun registry, but not before it cost you, the taxpayer in Canada, it was over $1 billion, because it was just not feasible trying to count and, you know, number every gun in this country. Just cost way too much money. Not only that, but it was people like myself who have guns legally and are not a threat to the public. Meanwhile, the criminals are, you know, especially in Ontario area, going across the bridge, bringing back whatever they want from the States fairly freely, or getting stuff shipped in, and the problem continues. So, as far as all of you people freaking out, I get it. You don't want to give up your guns. You paid good money for the guns. But not only that, for somebody like myself who doesn't own any of the prohibited weapons, I don't want you to have your guns bought back either. If you obtain them legally, you're storing them properly, there is no issue for me. What the issue for me is when this buyback happens, Trudeau isn't reaching into his own back pocket and handing you $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 for your restricted weapon. He's reaching into my pocket and your pocket, the taxpayer, to buy back these guns from responsible gun owners, which doesn't make any sense at all. Now, like I said, I'm amongst the mindset that nobody needs an AR-15. I'm also amongst the mindset that nobody needs a handgun. Now, I know some of my friends out there do own handguns as well, but you don't need them. Nobody needs a handgun. And I'm not trying to pick sides either way here. I think you can kind of see that here now. The government reaction was super heavy-handed in the banning of these 1,500 types of guns and rifles and semi-autos being able to be converted to fully autos. But then the gun nuts on this side losing their mind. And like I said, I can understand why you are, because if you have your guns and you legally obtained them and you're safely storing them, why do you have to have them taken away? So here's my thoughts on this, just in closing. I'm going to keep this a quick one today. Let's leave the guns alone. I'm okay if the government wants to ban handguns and buy those back from people, because nobody needs a handgun. They really don't. And as far as the long guns, you know, there's a lot of those. Like I said, nobody needs an AR-15 either. And the only thing that kind of disturbs me, but like I said, if you've legally obtained your AR-15 or your other type of weapon that's banned, fine. But, you know, there was one guy on there I noticed online the other day that was talking about his AR-15. And he said he does shoot like professional shooting as a sport. And he has an AR-15, and he said he had mental health issues, but getting into the sport of shooting with his AR-15 has helped him through it. Great. But he also compared his AR-15 to playing with Lego, because there's so many interchangeable parts, and that's how he enjoys it, and that's kept him kind of sane. When you come out straight off the hop and say you've got mental health issues, and then compare your AR-15 to Lego, that concerns me a bit. But like I said, legally obtained, been safe with it so far, leave them alone. My thoughts on it are this. My Lord, I'm rambling around, aren't I? My thoughts are this. In Canada, why don't we change the laws? Why don't we save the taxpayers some money and actually target the criminals with some stronger and tougher laws? And I'm telling you what, doesn't matter which side of this debate you're on, I think we would all agree on what I'm about to say. If you use a gun to shoot somebody and you kill them, 25 years in jail, no chance of parole, no questions asked. If you shoot somebody with a gun and you don't kill them, 15 to 20 years in jail, no chance of parole, no questions asked. If you're shooting a gun in public and you don't hit anybody, 5 years in jail, no parole, no questions asked. That's just a start. That's just off the top of my head. If you strengthen the laws to punish the criminals instead of taking the guns away from people who have legally obtained them and are safely storing them and using them for hunting or sport shooting or whatever, that's not going to solve the problem. And just on an added note, instead of spending hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, buying back these guns from legal, responsible, non-criminal gun owners, why don't we take that money and put it into the RCMP, the military, or even better, let's beef up our mental health services, because that seems to be one of the underlying issues that's the problem as well. There's a lot of people who cannot get the mental health care that they need. We had an issue where a fella killed his wife's son, I believe, here in New Brunswick last weekend. And the family has come out and said he was in the hospital. He tried to get, help for his mental health issues and was released. It's not the fault of the hospital. It's the fault that there's not enough money, there's not enough backing, there's not enough understanding that mental health is the issue it is. I don't think banning 1,500 types of guns is going to help that. Now, not to sound like a gun nut, but if somebody has mental health issues and they want to kill somebody, they'll grab a knife, they'll grab a baseball bat, they'll do whatever. Yes, they won't be able to kill as many people as quickly as with a gun, but it still doesn't underline the fact that mental health issues needs more money. So instead of buying back everybody's guns, Trudeau, how's about we leave the responsible gun owners alone? If you want to put a ban on the sale of these types of guns going forward in Canada, absolutely, fill your boots. At least people will know that's coming. But let's take the money we're going to use for the buyback and let's put it towards our policing, both locally, RCMP, through to our military, but let's put the bulk of it towards bumping up mental health care, because that is an issue that is kind of not got the spotlight as much as it should, especially in light of recent events. So that's it for me today. Very quick episode. I just wanted, because I like and I'm sure the same is for you, the social media feeds just friggin' went loony once Trudeau came out and said his little piece about banning all these guns, and then the eventual buyback that's coming as well. It's just taxpayer money upon taxpayer money. And on that same vein, for all of you people that are hailing Trudeau as a hero during this pandemic, every day he seems to come out, here's $300 billion for these people, here's $250 billion, blah, blah, blah. All this money he's throwing out there for folks during this pandemic to keep everybody afloat, that is also money out of your pocket. It's money out of the pockets of people like myself who are continuing to work through this and paying taxes, and it's not sustainable. So hopefully we get things up and running again. Trudeau tightens up the purse strings a little bit here and we get it under control, because it is your money ultimately. Maybe work on, maybe another topic for another day would be a universal wage for everybody in the country. That could really work too, but that's another topic. Anyway, I'm going to continue to drink my glass of candy. You have yourselves a fantastic day. Listen, eat the bacon if you've got it. Don't hug anybody right now. Give them a virtual hug if you can. And just take care of each other. Stay home if you can. Stay away from everybody as much as you can. And we'll get through this all. And hopefully still have our guns at the end of it.